was working on some of these memos.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Today was a little rainy, but we had a beautiful weekend, so I don't think we can complain too much. I appreciate the trustees that are here today, as well as our department heads. As always, the video of this meeting is going to be streamed on live on YouTube and will be available on Facebook and the Village website. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask Clerk Saladino to call the roll.
Trustee Gale.
Here.
Trustee O'Brien.
Here.
Trustee Peterson.
Here.
Trustee Thompson. Trustee McGee and Trustee Augustine are absent. President Kukor.
I am here. Thank you. And today, as we all know, is September 11th, the 22nd anniversary of the terrorist bombings that took the thousands of lives and really have changed the country in a lot of ways. And I said earlier today at an event that I remember being downtown at work and the TVs immediately being turned on and everybody watching the planes going into the tower and that second plane going into the tower, and then hearing about the other two planes and really how tragic it was and how scary it was and what a time for our country. But shortly thereafter, we as a country came together almost like never before. And in the weeks and months that followed 9/11, the country really coming together to say that we're not going to allow evil to overcome us. And what a wonderful thing that was. Today, we are going to be swearing in another police officer, Rocco Venute. And Rocco's parents, Dominique and Rocco, have agreed to lead us in today's Pledge of Allegiance. So if you both could go to the podium and start, that'd be great.
Okay, afterwards, she'll make it I don't.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And we're going to jump right in
Engineering to figure this out.
to the oath of office for police officer Rocco Venute. Item A on tonight's agenda is the admission of the oath of office for police officer Rocco Venute. Rocco recently completed the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy on August 18th. Rocco is the son of retired Melrose Park police officer, a son of the retired police officer, and prior to coming to Grange, he most recently served as an auxiliary officer with the Rosemont Public Safety Department. Rocco graduated from the 14-week Suburban Law Enforcement Academy at the College of DuPage. He has just begun the first phase of an additional 14 weeks of field training with a specially trained LaGrange police officer. He holds an associate's degree and is currently working on obtaining his bachelor's degree from Governor State University. Rocco, please join Clerk Saladino and anybody else from your family that wants to join up here to be sworn in. And I believe we may also have a grandmother and awesome. And who else? And an aunt. Okay, and a grandfather. Come on up. We're going to make you all get on TV. That's a big deal here.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Rocco Venute,
I, Rocco Venute,
having been appointed to the office of police officer
having been appointed to the office of police officer
in the village of LaGrange,
in the village of LaGrange,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of police officer
the duties of the office of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Turn around and see your grandmother. The look is amazing.
Mr. and Mrs. Vanute, Grandma and Aunt, we know that you know, because of Mr. Vanute's long service with Melrose Park, what a sacrifice it is for the family when one of their loved ones joins the police force, the fire department, or any of our first responders. And we appreciate the sacrifice that you're making. We know that Officer Vanute will miss some holidays, miss some birthdays, and even more importantly, puts his life truly in danger every day. We take that very seriously. We're here to support you. The community really, really loves our officers, and you're part of the village family. So thank you for your service and your commitment. And to the men and women that are here today with our police department, thank you for your service and all you do for our village. And it kind of ties in again with September 11th and this day really being a day that we get to honor and recognize the sacrifice and service that our first responders do. While over 2 decades have passed, the tragedy of that day has definitely left an indelible impression on us. Since that time, our country has proven that it's resilient, and together we've overcome the evil actions of those who sought to tear us apart, the terrorists. And again, today's an occasion where we're reminded of the brave actions of those first responders in New York, as well as the brave actions that our first responders do day in and day out. And we truly do appreciate that. Earlier today, at 4 o'clock in this room, there was a ceremony with the Field of Honor. Those were the flags that were at Denning Park for the last 10 days or so. And because of the rain, we had the event here. And 2 of the speakers, one was Rick Holomay, former fire chief of Carroll Stream, and Jack Scheinwind, who's the current Itasca fire chief. And both of them immediately, within hours of the Twin Tower attack, joined firefighters from Aurora as well as Chicago. And I think there were 56 of them that traveled out to New York. And they spent a week literally going through the debris of the Twin Towers, trying at first to see if there were any survivors. Unfortunately, there weren't any survivors, but trying to get remains with the hope that some of the families could get closure. And they both gave a very meaningful, heartfelt talk today. It was quite enjoyable, or at least very informative and moving, I should say, because it changed them. And, again, they were clear to say that really they were no bigger heroes than anybody else that serves in any of our departments. They had the opportunity to go, and they did it. And really, they wanted to make sure that everybody in our departments knew how much their daily sacrifices means to the community. So we appreciate them coming out, and thanks on that. Moving on to a topic that's been hot, at least the last few meetings, and maybe even past that, and that's speeding and traffic safety. Over the course of the past several months, we've heard from residents with concern of speeding and traffic safety. The village has responded through education and enforcement activities and has continued to pursue greater compliance with traffic regulations through a variety of efforts. Chief Griffin has recently taken steps towards continued improvement of that, and maybe, Chief, you could just talk a little bit about that.
Yes, thank you, President Kukler. In an effort to be more responsive to community concerns and maintain safety on the village roadways, we have revamped our TED program to use more structured traffic enforcement plans. The traffic enforcement plans allow officers to have dedicated time specific to dealing with a traffic safety issue. We have implemented the traffic enforcement plans, also known as TEPs, to address a couple of issues. First, we are conducting structured weekend enforcement plans for the downtown business district from Friday evenings to Sunday evenings. This is being done to maintain the safety of our pedestrians, shoppers, and patrons of our restaurants and our vibrant downtown area. This, coupled with more frequent foot patrols, will provide for a much greater police presence in the downtown business district as a whole. The second component will address traffic concerns in other areas of town through structured enforcement plans. Our current TEP program began last Monday and is covering Brainerd Avenue from 55th Street to Burlington. I am confident that with the use of these traffic enforcement plans, with dedicated enforcement time, we will observe greater traffic safety and compliance on the village roadways. And that completes my report.
Thank you, Chief Griffin. And tomorrow I'm going to meet a resident, Christopher Sira, lives near Ogden and has been moved in not too long ago, but really working hard to see if there wasn't a way to make Ogden, especially near the schools, a school crossing zone. And so in that regard, he's invited State Rep LaShawn Ford and State Senator Mike Porfirio out for his house for breakfast and to see some of the traffic patterns while the kids are going to school. So we're going to meet at his house tomorrow at 7, again, with the idea to see what we can do to either slow, they have IDOT maybe do a school speed zone there, or what changes or implements can be made on the state level to make the area a little safer. Moving on, yesterday we had the opportunity to participate in the 32nd annual Race Unity Rally. The rally is a great opportunity to recognize and celebrate the diversity in LaGrange. The theme was the importance of belonging and included awards presented to Dr. Bessie Boyd and Michael Thomas. The Caring Place Choir, youth diversity essays, and an introduction of the village's new police chief, Chief Griffin, was also part of the event. Our trustee, Shawana McGee, led the child's choir, and they did a fantastic job. And we want to thank all that organized and participated in the event. I encourage all of us to appreciate and cherish the diversity we do have in LaGrange and our society. It really enriches our daily life. And like I said yesterday, you know, we not only recognize diversity in LaGrange, but we celebrate diversity in LaGrange. And that really is what makes us special. It was also a great weekend for the West End Art Festival. It was a 2-day event, very well attended. A lot of art was purchased and included some work by truly amazing artists. There was also great live music, events for the children. Thank you to the LGBA staff, the village staff. A lot of work goes in by the village, and we appreciate the staff's effort. They came together, as always, to make it a wonderful, wonderful event. I also know that it was St. Cletus Fest, and so congratulations to them on a well-organized and run event. That's a great back-to-school event for their parish. And with that, I'd ask if Manager Knight has a manager's report.
We do. Thank you, President Kukler, and good evening, everyone. First of all, congratulations to Officer Verdu. Welcome to the team. We're looking forward to you joining us, and we wish you a very successful career here, so welcome aboard. I'd also like to share that the village also welcomed Scott Wallace last week. Mr. Wallace will serve as the village's part-time fire inspector and joins us, having previously worked as the City of Elmhurst Fire Department. I worked there for 28 years, retiring as deputy chief. Mr. Wallace will perform inspections for buildings and special events, and we are pleased to have him join our team as well. The 2023 sewer rehabilitation project continues. Important capital projects such as this continue with the village's work proceeding on schedule. As part of this project, point repairs are being completed with additional restoration of sewers through lining. These efforts are to ensure the village's sewers are working at their most optimal conditions. Work is progressing on time, and full restoration of work areas is planned to occur by September 22nd. Another significant capital project is the Brainerd Avenue water main installation project. The water main work north of Hillgrove is progressing as planned, along with the ongoing coordination of replacing lead service lines. Pavement restoration for areas south of Maple Avenue is expected to be completed by next week. Lastly, the Indiana Harbor Belt has updated their closure of the Cosset Avenue Railroad crossing to September 18th. The crossing is scheduled to close for approximately 3 weeks for reconstruction. Motorists are encouraged to look for the posted notice boards that display detour information. President Kukler, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Village Manager Knight. We appreciate that. And moving on, I should keep to my script probably, but Clerk Saladino, I'd request that you read the items under the consent agenda, followed by items appearing under current business.
Matters on the consent agenda will be considered by a single motion and vote because they already have been considered fully by the board at a previous meeting or have been determined to be of a routine nature. Any member of the Board of Trustees may request that an item be moved from the consent agenda to current business for separate consideration. Item A, minutes of the Village of LaGrange Board of Trustees regular meeting, Monday, August 28, 2023. Item B, consolidated voucher 230911. Current business. This agenda item includes consideration of matters being presented to the Board of Trustees for action. Item A, a resolution approving the execution of a sub-recipient agreement, American Rescue Plan Act, state and local recovery funds between the Village of LaGrange and Cook County of Illinois. Item B, a resolution authorizing engineering services task order number 276 regarding infrastructure capital planning. Item C, an ordinance granting a zoning variation from the minimum required front yard at 1301 West Cosset Avenue. And item D, an ordinance approving a zoning code text amendment and granting a special use permit to authorize personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facilities in conjunction with retail sales in the C1, C2 districts and at 4 West Callender Avenue.
Thank you, Clerk Saladino. Next on the agenda is time for public comments regarding matters on tonight's agenda. Seeing none, thank you. Sorry to rush you. Take your time.
No. Okay,
Yep,
there we
you're
go. Just a question, actually, regarding the current business D, Charity, maybe for you there. When we talk about a amendment to the zoning code for the special use of the lack of the 25 feet in all C1 and C2 properties in the central business district, is that for all uses or just for this particular personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facility purpose?
Right, so it's just, the text amendment is only relative to personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facilities in conjunction with retail sales.
Okay.
So it would be, if the text amendment were approved in the C1 and C2 districts, that use would be a permitted use, which means you could apply and just receive a building permit,
Without the
business
special, yeah.
license, certificate of occupancy, if you had the minimum 25-foot retail depth. If you did not meet that requirement, but you still included retail sales as part of the use, it could go through that special use process.
Got it. Thank you.
And do you have any comments on that, or we just wanted a
No,
clarification?
I just wanted to clarify.
Perfect. Thank you. With that, I would entertain a motion on a second on the consent agenda.
I move for acceptance of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Gale and Trustee Peterson. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, I would ask Clerk Saladino for a roll call vote.
Trustee Peterson.
Aye.
Trustee Thompson.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
Trustee O'Brien.
Aye.
Trustee Augustine and Trustee McGee are absent.
Thank you, trustees, and that passes unanimously. Moving on to the current business. Under A, we have the resolution approving the execution of subrecipient agreement for the American Rescue Plan Act, state and local recovery funds between the Village of LaGrange and the County of Cook. And so I want to stop and really, because that's a whole mouthful, and I don't want it to be lost by anybody here or anybody who's watching at home. What this is a $325,000 grant from Cook County. And we don't get a lot of Cook County money here. So when we get Cook County money, we want to make sure we utilize it. And I really want to encourage the residents to take advantage of this. So I'm going to talk a little bit in detail, but again, just to summarize and keep people's attention, assuming they're not watching the football game right now and they're watching me. But in all seriousness, what it is it's $325,000 from the county. $50,000 can be used this year, $275,000 to be used next year. It's going to allow us to fully fund any residents that want to do the backup sewer or the overhead sewer plan. And we've done that for the last couple of years. We've had a $50,000 budgeted to attempt to pay half the cost for residents that want to make those improvements. Really, next year may be the last year that we offer it, since we're going to have the county money to pay for it. So we do want to have all the residents that are thinking about it, that are considering it, to either do it this year or next year when we'll have even more money available. So I'd like to read it so that anybody who's watching at home can really get a good understanding of what it's all about. The Village's Sewer Backup Prevention Grant Program serves to encourage homeowners to improve their quality of life and enhance property values through the reduction of sanitary sewer backups. Funds available through the program are targeted at assisting single and two-family homeowners with the cost of plumbing improvements to address sanitary sewer backups. The program provides 50% reimbursement of the eligible costs for installing a backflow device or overhead sewer. It's capped at $3,000 for backflow devices and $5,000 for overhead sewers. Permit fees for the work performed as part of the program are waived. For the last 2 years, $50,000 has been budgeted for the program, which is administered on a first-come, first-served basis at the start of the fiscal year. In March, the village was contacted by the Cook County Department of Transportation and Highways, which, in collaboration with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, had reviewed existing inventories of known drainage problems throughout Cook County in pursuit of partnering with communities to mitigate flooding. The village's residential sewer backup prevention program was identified as eligible for support through the funds provided to Cook County through the ARPA, which is the American Rescue Plan Act. And that was the federal money that went to the county. We've been trying to get that money out of the county, and this is really one of the main ways we can do so. Staff has worked with the county drainage and utilities manager to develop the proposed agreement that will provide a total of $325,000 in grant funding, with $50,000 available this fiscal year and $275,000 available next fiscal year. The village's program requirements would remain the same, with potential for negotiating an expanded scope of the program in the future should both parties see fit. The proposed agreement has been reviewed by staff and the village attorney and developed in collaboration with the county. Staff recommends approval of the proposed resolution approving recognition of the Subrecipient Agreement American Rescue Plan Act, state and local recovery funds between the Village of LaGrange and the County of Cook. And with that, I would ask a trustee for a motion to approve that resolution.
I move for approval of the resolution as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Gale and Trustee O'Brien. And with that, I would open it up to any questions or comments. And Trustee Peterson.
I do have a question. I'm reading here 275, was it 275,000 in 2024? Yes. Does that have to be spent in 1 year, or is that available until it's spent? So that could be more than 1 year.
Yeah, that's essentially a cap, so it's a reimbursement program. So
Yeah.
it's for any expenditures under the program up until that amount.
Okay, so my question is that does everybody have to apply for it in 2024? Or if not all of that money is spent in 2024, it would be available in the following year?
Yes.
Yes,
So
okay.
there's funding available for this current year.
Yep.
When we get the grant funding, that'll be available for that first year with a $50,000 amount. And then that second year of the program, up to 275 would be available.
Okay.
Any other comment?
One down here.
Up? Trustee Thompson.
So the 50,000 would actually be available for next year, and the 275 available for 2025. Since we're going to the time of year we're really not gonna be able to dig sewers, or has this got to be done and completed this calendar?
So the program runs on a fiscal year basis. So the village budgeted some funds for this year. We have approximately $9,000 left in this year's budget. Whenever the grant fund would become available, we'd be able to use that funding for the program. I would understand that to be a portion of this current fiscal year, and then the additional funds would be available for the next.
Thank you.
And seeing no other comments, I would ask Clerk Saladino for a roll call vote.
Trustee Thompson.
Aye.
Trustee Peterson.
Aye.
Trustee O'Brien.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
Trustee Augustine McGee absent.
And that passes unanimously. Next up is item B, a resolution authorizing engineering service task order 276 regarding infrastructure capital planning, and that is being referred to Trustee Thompson.
Thank you, President Kukler. In pursuit of maximizing the impact of the investment in its infrastructure, the village has contracted for the performance of a comprehensive plan studies of its streets, water, sewer, and stormwater systems. These studies have served to analyze the conditions of these systems, identify needed improvements, and develop and prioritize a plan for investment by need or overall improvement to the systems. Coordinating investments in the village's infrastructure will make the most efficient use of the limited available capital investment funds, avoid duplicate costs for mobilization and excavations, preserve the integrity of the current infrastructure conditions, and introduce additional construction and administrative efficiencies. The development of the plan will meet these objectives to serve and create a plan for replacing the lead service lines work to inform the annual budgeting process with an estimated lead service line and work to inform the annual budgeting process. With an estimated $100 million in capital infrastructure needed to address within the next 5 to 10 years, the development of a comprehensive capital infrastructure plan is vital in ensuring that the efficient, well-planned, and effective investments are made. Staff requested a proposed task order for the development of an infrastructure capital plan from Baxter and Woodman based on their past experience, knowledge of the village, and ability to perform this work. Under the proposal, they will provide a master project list and timeline for implementation, which will serve to coordinate capital projects and the required financing. The following is the proposed schedule for the work. The 2023-24 infrastructure capital plan schedule will be water system model, March of 24, lead service replacement plan, April of 24, sanitary system analysis and transportation system analysis, both March of 2024, street light analysis, February of 24, and the draft report due in April of 24 with the final report due in May of 24. The cost to perform this work is $195,000. Funds were included in the approved fiscal year 2023-24 budget for this cost. Staff recommends the approval of the proposed resolution approving task order number 276 with Baxter and Woodman, Inc. for the design of engineering services related to the development of the infrastructure capital plan. And with that, I propose we pass the resolution approving task order number 276 with Baxter and Woodman.
Thank you, Trustee Thompson, for moving for that and looking for a second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Gale. Any comments, questions on this? Seeing none, I'd ask Clerk Saladino for a roll call vote.
Trustee O'Brien.
Aye.
Trustee Peterson.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
Trustee Thompson.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Next up is C, an ordinance granting a zoning variation from the minimum required front yard at 1301 West Cossett Avenue. The Grange Area Department of Special Education, LADSI, at 1301 West Cossett Avenue, has applied for a variation to encroach within the minimum required front yard in order to construct concrete stairs at the subject property. Zoning Code Section 14-303E1A, authorized variations, allows variations that reduce the dimension of any required yard. On August 17th, the Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing on the application. The applicant stated that the intention of the proposed project is to upgrade the subject property's existing non-accessible front entrance to comply with the American Disabilities Act. This would include constructing an accessible ramp, retaining wall, and new front stairs. While the proposed ramp does not encroach on the property's required front yard, the concrete steps will. Applicant noted that the proposed configuration is intended to align with the existing walkway and depressed curb located in the Cossett Avenue right-of-way, which currently serves as an accessible drop-off area for visitors. The ZBA found that the variation would not impact the essential character of the surrounding area and that the hardship is not self-created. The ZBA also found that although it appeared that the project could be designed in a way that would not require a variation, the proposed configuration was the most practical. After the hearing was closed, the ZBA deliberated and voted 4-0 to recommend approval of the requested variation. Staff and the village attorney have prepared the attached proposed ordinance granting a zoning variation from the minimum required front yard at 1301 Cossett Avenue. So at this time, I would ask for a trustee to make a motion granting a zoning variation from the minimum required front yard at 1301 Cossett Avenue.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Gale. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Peterson. Any questions on this zoning variation? Seeing none, I would ask Clerk Saladino for a roll call vote.
Trustee Thompson.
Aye.
Trustee O'Brien.
Aye.
Trustee Peterson.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
And that matter passes unanimously. Next up and last, under current business, is item D, an ordinance approving a zoning code text amendment and granting a special use permit to authorize a personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facility in conjunction with retail sales in the C1, C2 districts and at 4 West Callender Avenue. And this matter is being referred to Trustee Gale.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jay Aldrich of Stretch Lab, who is the applicant, is the future lessee of the property at 4 West Callender Avenue, which is the subject property. Has requested first a text amendment to Section 5-105C of the zoning code to allow personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facilities in conjunction with retail sales without a minimum 25-foot depth of retail sales. And 2, a special use permit to operate personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facility in conjunction with retail sales called Stretch Lab at the subject property. No exterior work is proposed, and we're going to tackle this as 2 separate motions. The proposed use is categorized in the zoning code as personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facilities in conjunction with retail sales. These are facilities that offer class-based one-on-one and or small group fitness instruction only. The applicant has requested an amendment to the zoning code to allow personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facility in conjunction with retail sales as a special use. This special use will be within the C1 and C2 districts when the use does not include 25 feet of retail depth. The proposed amendment would apply to all C1 and C2 zone properties within the village. The proposed special use would allow a stretch lab at 4 West Callender Avenue. Stretch Lab is an assisted stretching studio that offers one-on-one assisted stretch sessions. The applicant operates other franchise locations in Willowbrook and Elmhurst. The proposed Grange facility will have 10 stretch benches in an open setting with a retail area of 511 square feet and 15.6 feet deep. occupying the full width of the storefront abutting Callender Avenue. The case was heard by the Plan Commission on August 15, 2023. The commissioners found the proposed text amendment is keeping with the goals of the Village Zoning Code and Comprehensive Plan by maintaining a required retail component in the pedestrian scale downtown and C2 commercial district, while providing some flexibility for uses occupying spaces in which a 25-foot deep retail area may not be feasible. The commissioner supported the applicant's floor plan, in which the proposed retail area directly abuts the unit's only storefront window. After deliberation, the Plan Commission voted 5-0 to recommend the application as presented with no conditions. Staff and the village attorney have prepared the attached proposed ordinances pursuant to the direction of the Plan Commission. Again, what we're doing is got two amendments, one to amend, one for a text amendment, and then the second to approve the special use. So right now, I move for approval of an ordinance approving a zoning code text amendment to authorize personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facilities in conjunction with retail sales as a special use in the C1 and C2 districts.
Thank you, Trustee Gale. And a second on that?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee O'Brien. Any discussion on the first motion? Seeing none, I'd ask Clerk Saladino for a roll call vote.
Trustee Peterson?
Aye.
Trustee Thompson?
Aye.
Trustee O'Brien?
Aye.
Trustee Gale?
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Now, if Trustee Gale could introduce the second ordinance.
Absolutely. I'd like to make a motion for an ordinance approving a special use permit to authorize personal physical fitness training and supervised exercise facilities in conjunction with retail sales at 4 West Callender Avenue.
And a second on that.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Thompson. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'd ask Clerk Saladino. Oh, Trustee Gale, sorry about that.
That's no problem. I just wanted to take the opportunity to explain, the two-step process.
Okay,
It was
sure.
always fascinating to me. What we've done is we've amended our code to allow the special use. So first we got to amend the code. Then, now that we've amended the code to allow the special use, we have to then allow the special use. So that's the two-step process. And in this instance, it's just because the physical space doesn't allow the 25-foot setback, which we normally would require. It's just the space is smaller, so we had to make this special use and then allow it.
Thank you, Trustee Gale. I'm sure there were people with that question, so that's great to be educated.
I was one of them.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, I'd ask Clerk Saladino for a roll call vote.
Trustee Peterson?
Aye.
Trustee O'Brien?
Aye.
Trustee Thompson?
Aye.
Trustee Gale?
Aye.
And that matter passes unanimously. We are now at the time of our meeting for public comments regarding matters not on tonight's agenda. So if anybody wishes to comment on matters not on tonight's agenda, please come up to the podium.
Hi, as you know, I'm Becky Lorenzen from Community Diversity Group, and I just want to thank the village and all of the trustees that were able to attend the Unity Rally on Sunday. And I just also wanted to let you know that we did finish our tiling project, and we actually finished a little early. They're going to be mounting it up on the building this next week, and we're going to have our unveiling ceremony and dedicate it to the Park District on October 15th, which is a Sunday. I think those of you who were at the Unity Rally yesterday got an invitation, but I do have some extra invitations here if you would like one. And so I just wanted you to know that you're all invited. We're going to be inviting the community to celebrate with us, and we're going to have food and entertainment, and a local nationally known breakdancer is going to be there, and Russell's DJ friend is going to DJ for us, so it should be a lot of fun. So put that on your calendar. Thank you.
And Becky, can you tell us what time that's at on
yes,
October
it's,
15th?
From 2 to 5.
2 to 5, Sunday, October 15th.
And it's going to be at the community center.
At the community center. And we really appreciate all that you and all the other volunteers did for Race Diversity Weekend. It was great, starting with the Till movie and moving on to the rally. Well attended, and just a great opportunity for people of all ages to participate and to observe and to celebrate. So thanks again for everything you've done. The tiling project, I think everybody is amazed at how fun it was doing it and what a great idea. So I know that you were one of the main organizers on that. So thanks again for all that.
Yeah,
We do
you're very
appreciate it.
welcome, and we really appreciate your support. And we've already got people asking, when's the next project? Because they had so much fun. So I think the committee's going to take a little rest, and then we'll let you know.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Sterling Topel. I've been a resident over 40 years. And the only reason I rise here today is really just to talk about, it seems like a couple trustees had a little bit of reservations about the leaf pickup program in LaGrange, okay? And I think we need to discuss this before that discussion goes too much further, and maybe address those concerns, and maybe, and let me basically state some of the items I think are important in that. So again, we're talking about a program that's probably been here, I'm going to guess 50 years or more, okay, in the village. I've been here over 40 years, and it's always been here. The village, you know, again, I don't want any of this to be, I've worked many times with, you know, the village as far as, you know, the program, and never had a problem, you know, with any problems with that. But again, the village is committed to a tree-friendly community, and I think, again, this goes hand in hand with a tree-friendly community, that the fact that the village also does this picking up the leaves and all those kind of things. I also think it's the most cost-effective method out there for removing large amounts of leaves. I mean, let's be honest, there's large lots, there's people with large trees. You know, having them bag all of this is really not efficient. The village here has a really good system of picking up the leaves. You know, they got the little Jeep with the screen, and they have the front loaders and the trucks. These all do an excellent job and are very efficient, okay? You know, and again, the village, again, already has the trained personnel. You know, again, if we were to suddenly drop this program, I believe there'd be equipment that might have to be retired, you know. Hopefully there wouldn't be people that would be affected, but again, that's one of it. One of the concerns was that the leaves end up in the sewer, okay? Well, okay, you know, sewer maintenance is a big problem here, as we all know, but leaves are gonna end up in the sewer anyway, okay? I mean, again, if people rake them or not. In fact, my experience has been that if they're more in a bunch on the curb, they maybe don't flow as fast down to the sewer grating, okay? Again, my experience also has been that for residents who are not part of a lawn care service, there's a participation of almost 80 or 90% in this program, okay? It's very high. I see it on my block. I don't know what your experiences are, but I see it on my block. And I get worried when we talk about getting rid of this program, because the next program we get rid of was the brush pickup, okay? You know, it starts getting to be a concern for everyone involved. I also worry that by getting rid of the program, we have neighbors live in close quarters. We once heard a famous story about a U.S. senator who got into a tussle about leaves being blown on his lawn.
Not in LaGrange, though.
Oh, yeah. And I believe you're right. But I'm worried that people that don't have trees would somehow feel put upon by people who do, that the leaves blow on their lawn, and by blowing them back, make them, you know, create some friction that was never there, okay? And finally, my last comment, I'm trying to keep it as brief as possible, is that I just feel that if we're going to move away from a 50-year program, that maybe we should put it to a referendum. I mean, I really strongly believe that this is something that maybe the residents really need to have some input on, okay? Because to suddenly discontinue this program, you know, a lot of people really rely on it, okay? And to suddenly just, pull that support would be, I think, a problem per se. So thank you for your time, and that's it, unless you have any comments for me.
No, we appreciate you coming out. We have received some emails from residents sharing similar concerns. I agree with personally agree with a lot of the points you made. I think that the trustees that did raise it were really raising it with the idea that they wanted to hear resident feedback. And so it's great that you came out, and anybody at home, feel free to email us your thoughts for or against, because I do think that was the spirit that it was raised, was to see what the residents thought. So thank you for taking the time tonight to let us know. We do appreciate it.
John Pluto from 718 East Avenue. I handed a little handout to all you folks, and there were some things in there that are concerns of mine and some other friends of mine. One of them is flood control, and we haven't really spoke much about that in the village. It's kind of under construction right now, I take it. President Kuchler, we're working on that project?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm concerned about the amount of water that's going to come down East Avenue, because we do have a definite problem there. And it's coming from 51st Street sewer that's shared with Countryside, and it's coming from the Country Club already. We can't put any more water at that corner at 47th and East Avenue. So that's one issue. The other issue, I spoke with Mr. Colby about the water tank and the crack in it, and he reassured me that there was going to be an inspection of the tank, and we're going to make sure that that is up to snuff. So I just wanted to express my concerns and that you people understand what we're here for.
Yeah, John, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Thank you for your handout that I have here in the pictures. And I know that what we'll do is, if Director Colby hasn't had a chance to begin that, once he begins that, he'll put information on the web saying, whatever, I don't even know the scope of that's involved, but he'll lay that out so that the residents, because I know you come to some meetings, but everybody doesn't, and we want to communicate through the web page. So we'll be doing that in the months ahead. So thank you again for bringing this to our attention and the efforts to make sure we're all safe. We do appreciate it. Seeing no other public comments, I would open it up for trustee comments. We have no trustee comments, and so at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:21.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, trustees. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned, coming back in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody.